What Obioma no fit do, a tailor fit do. What a tailor fit do, Obioma no fit do. Likewise, what Obioma and a tailor no fit do, a designer can do. So if you want to be a designer, if you want to know your way, if you want to know how to draft your pattern and how to cut very well and sew like a pro, you are in a best place. So I urge you to stick with me as we work and have fun and learn together. So today I'll be drafting an A-line gown for a child of a year plus, a year 6 months actually. So I'll be using this measurement. Her shoulder is 8.5, her chest is 19, her waistline is 19, and her fillet is 21. So let's dive right in. Stick with me as we work together. So for a start, if you look at, let me set my camera very well so that people will see. If you look at, sorry, this is not, it's not actually sharp. If you look at, if you notice that I've marked a line, so this is my starting line where I'll be starting from. So using my measurement, like I said, her shoulder is 8.5. So if I divide 8.5 by 2, I'm going to be having, I'm dividing with my tape. Okay, I have 4.25. So, but because I want to add, I'm going to be adding ½ inch for sewing allowance. So I'll be working with 4.7. Okay, let me use 5 inch so that I'll be able to turn it. So the neckline I'll be using is 2.5. I hope you are following. Then this is my shoulder line, which I marked 5. Then I'll drop down by ½ inch for the child's shoulder slope. I'll drop down by ½ inch. So I'm going to connect this ½ inch to the neckline, to the place where I marked the neckline. Like this. So I'm going to be connecting it like this. So I'll be working with the neck. I'll be working, my neck depth is I'm using 2.52 equally. So I'm going to be connecting. See, everything is looking good. So now I'm going to be taking my armhole. My armhole, the armhole I'm working with is 4.5. 4.5. So I'm going to be connecting it. So I'll connect. This is my chest line now. So my chest line, then her waist. So I'm going to be measuring her half length, which is 8.5. So I'm going to draw the line out. Then her full length, like I said, is 21. But I'll be adding extra 1 inch for hemming allowance. So I'll be using 22. So I mark out 22 here. 22. So right now I'm going to be imputing my measurement. So the chest measurement is 19. So I'm going to be dividing 19 by 4, but I'm dividing with my tape. So first of all, I divide 19 by 2 using my tape. Can you see what I did? I just placed my tape on 19 and I divided by 2. And then when I opened it, I'm having 9.5. So I'm going to go to that 9.5. I divide it again. I place my tape in by 2 like this. Look at, I just put it like this and I divide. So it's giving me 4.75. So I'll go to my chest line and then I'll mark 4.75. 4.75. Then I'll add 1.5 sewing allowance. So her waist measurement is 19 too, so I'm going to mark 4.75 plus 1.5, 1.5 sewing allowance. I mark it. Then because it's an A line, from here to here, if I measure what I have plus my allowance, now I have 6.25. So here I'm going to be measuring, adding extra 1 more inch or 2 inches to the waist measurement. So here I'm marking 8.25. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to connect all my lines together. It's pretty interesting rather, isn't it? So I'm connecting all my lines. And that's it. So I'll come to this, the down here, I'll go up by 1 inch. I'll go back by 1 inch and then I'll connect it to this place. Can you see what I just did? I went up, let me bring my camera a bit close so that you see. I went up by 1 inch. Can you see from here? I measured 1 inch and I placed my ruler like this and I connected it to the hem, to the hemming line. Can you see what I did? Okay, so that's very good. So now I'm going to my armhole. So this is my armhole. For me to do this is my armhole. So I placed my tape. My armhole here is 4.75. So what I did is, for me to get my armhole, I divide it into 2 and I mark and I come in here by half. You can see what I'm doing. I mark ½ inch here and then I'm going to connect from here, pass through this line to this place. So look at it. I'm going to place my French curve like this from here. I'll place my French curve the way I'll place is that this line will go from here to the line I marked here, and then it will pass through this place. But please, if you cannot get it at once, you can actually first of all place your French curve and connect from maybe from here to the line that you mark. Then you now place it again to get this place. Can you see? Can you see how neat it is? So I go over it again. First of all, I measured my neck measurement, which is the neck measurement I use for the neck width is 2. Let's be sure. I used 2.5, and then I also took my shoulder measurement, which I used 5 because I put allowance for turning it, and then I dropped down from shoulder to this place by ½ inch, which is the shoulder slope, and then I connected to the neckline, and then I got my armhole, and then this is my chest line. C for chest line, W for waist, and then my full length. So what I did is I now divided my chest line, that's circumference measurement. Now that's around the chest of the child, around the waist of the child, and then so I divided my chest measurement, which is 19. I divided by 4, and then I added I added 1.5 sewing allowance. I did the same thing for the waist, and then down here, and then on getting to the down here, I went up by 1 inch, and then I connected. And then for me to get my armhole, what did I do? I just placed my measures from here, the normal armhole. I just placed my tape and I divided it by 2, and then I marked, and then by here I measured ½ inch and then I connected from here to here. It's very important and necessary that after you finish your measurements, before you cut, please retake your measurement, check it to be sure that you measured accurately. So thank you. So I'll be drafting the back pattern so that you see how the back pattern is going to be. Please stick with me and stay around. Thank you. Okay, let's cut out. Let's do the cutting. So I'm going to cut from here. Make sure you add all your necessary allowance, because if you don't add the allowance, I don't know what you want to do when if you don't add an allowance, and maybe by the time you deliver the clothes and you notice that maybe the child have added, what are you going to do? How do you intend to do your necessary adjustment? So it's very important that when you are sewing, you add enough allowance. You add enough allowance. It's very important that you add enough allowance. See, can you see? This is the front pattern now. So I'll be drafting the back pattern immediately. The back. I'll be drafting the back of this dress immediately. So for me to draft the back pattern, the back of the dress, I'm actually using the fabric, not the pattern. If I'm working with pattern, it should be on my pattern paper, but I'm working directly on my fabric. So for me to draft the back, I'll first of all mark my starting line, which is this. Mark my starting line. Then I'm going to measure 1 inch from this folded end. You see, I folded my wrapper into 2. I'll mark 1 inch. That's my zipper allowance. 1 inch. I'll mark it down. 1 inch. 1 inch. 1 inch. 1 inch. 1 inch. And then I'm going to be connecting all. I'm going to be connecting them. One inch. 1 inch. I'm going to be connecting them. So now this is my zipper allowance. And note please that whenever you are working with your fabric, make sure that where you are marking is the back of the wrapper, not the front. I actually usually mark the back of the wrapper. So now I'm going to be taking my shoulder measurement, which I told you people that I use 5, including my sewing allowance, and then my neck I use 2.5. So because this is the back, I'm going to be using 1 inch for the back neckline, my back. So I'm going to connect it like this. And then I will extend it to the zipper allowance area. And then remember that when I was drafting the front, I told us after taking your shoulder measurement, that's shoulder divided by 2, you should drop down by ½ inch, which is your shoulder slope. So then I will now mark my shoulder slope. I'm marking the ½ inch, I'm connecting it to the neckline. Can you see? So now I'm going to mark my armhole. Or rather, I can equally place this like this now. See what I'm going to do? This is my front neckline. This is my back neckline. This is my shoulder. Can you see? It's touching this place. So I can equally just use my and equally, instead of going about to draft it, I'll just place my front the front one that I've done. I'll place it on the back. I've marked my back neckline, then I'll now cut. And you see what I'm doing? I just place the front pattern, and then that's after you've marked your 1 inch zipper allowance. I got my neckline, then I just put the front on the back, and then I'm cutting out immediately. Can you see what I'm just doing? So this is my back pattern now. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to open up my zipper where the zip will pass. This is my back pattern, so I'll just open it up. You see? So this is it. This is it now. This is the front. Let me show us so that we can see it very well. You can see it very well. This is the front. Okay, this is the back. Where is the front? Okay, this is the front. Assuming I want to sew it now, this is the front. And then I'm going to put my back like this. I put, and then I'll join them at the neckline like this, and then I'll pull this one like this too, and then I'll join them at the neckline, and that's all for now. Thank you for sticking with me to the end of this class. If you want to learn more, please follow me. Also ask your friends to follow me, and I assure you, you are going to learn more. And you know, one good thing about you sticking with me is that we are going to be having fun together, because I'm going to be dropping tutorials almost every day. So stick with me, and thank you. Okay, let's browse Peter Pan color. So what you're going to do is to, normally these papers are supposed to be on fold, and then you are going to join your front pattern and the back pattern by the shoulder. Join them at the shoulder, just your front one, just one, for example, like this. Let me remove this pin here. So you join, you see, this is a front pattern, as you can see. So you fold them, you put them on fold like this. You fold this for the front. Then what you are going to do is to bring one of the back piece and then you join them at the shoulder. When you join them at the shoulder, then you can now, you see, they will now be like this, but here I didn't join. I just used scissors to hold them together because I know my way around. Hold them together, and then you make sure that your front pattern, your front, align with the paper or the material that you're using to draft the color. So what I'm going to do is just to trace out. Let me use a marker so that you see. I'm going to be tracing it out like this. See? I'm tracing it out. I'm going to be tracing it out. I'll do this to here. I'll trace it out like this. Then, because this thing will not be, the color will not be there, I'll be leaving 1 inch for my zip allowance. So the color will not get there. So I'm going to mark 1 inch on my fabric. So I'm just going to trace from here to this place. Can you see? Then I've traced it. So what I'm going to do now is to remove them. Then I will now decide the wideness of the color. Like here, I'm going to be using, I actually want it to be 2 inch, but I'm going to be adding half 0.5 for ease. That's for my sewing allowance. See? So it will now be 2.5. That's 2.5. 2.5. 2.5. 2.5. 2.5, 2.5, sorry, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. So what I'm going to do is to join the lines together like this, connect. I'm going to connect them. Going to connect them. Okay, so yeah, I'll just so because I don't want this place, the edges to be like this, what I'm going to do is to come in by 1/2 inch. I'm going to be coming in by 1/2 inch, and then I'll give a slight curve. And you see, I'll equally do the same here. I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch. Then I'm done. So what I'm going to do now is to cut it. I'm going to cut it out. Okay, how beautiful it's looking already. I'm going to write the name so that I not mistake it with the first one I've drafted. So now when I want to cut, I'm going to cut 4 of this. I've cut 4 of this because I'll put 2 together, and I'll sew from here. I'll sew it. I'll cut 4 of this. Then when I want to sew, I'm going to, for example, let's say I've cut 4. Remember, this for another one, but I'm just trying to illustrate. If I've cut 4, what I'll do is to put 2 together like this, and I'll sew like this, like this, like this, and I put another 2. I'll sew like this, like this. So when I want to sew it on a cloth now, because I've joined at the shoulder, for example, let's say maybe this shoulder like this, I'm going to place one like this. Yes, you see it's aligned. This is my zipper allowance. Then I will sew round. Do you understand? I'll just put it like this from here, and then I'll sew like this, like this, like this, like this, and I'll stop at my zipper allowance. So if you're cutting out, you're going to cut 4 of this, so that you use 1 to turn out 1. So thank you for sticking with me. Have a good and a gracious day. See? All right, so let's jump into the making of the hairline dress that was drafted earlier. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is my fabric. I don't know if you are seeing it. This is my fabric. This is my front. You can see the front, and this is the back. And this These are my lining. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is to join it at the shoulder. So I'm going to place the front, the right side of the cloth of the fabric, and the right side of the back facing each other. Like this is the right side of this part, this is the right side. So I'm going to place them and pin them down at the shoulder. I'm going to pin them down at the shoulder. Can you see? And then I'm going to take this part too, this one too, right side facing each other, right side facing each other, please. Okay, and then I'm going to pin it down at the shoulder. Now I'm going to join them at the shoulder. After pinning them down, the next thing to do is to join them. You sew at the shoulder using 1/2 inch. So I'm going to sew it down with 1/2 inch. I'm going to do this same thing to the lining. Pin at the shoulder, pin both shoulder together, then sew with 1/2 inch. You do the same on the fabric and then on the lining. Okay, now I'm pinning my lining at the shoulder. After pinning, I'm going to be sewing both shoulders using 1/2 inch. Okay, sorry, my thread cut while I was trying to sew my lining. So you can see I've joined my lining at the shoulders, and equally I've done the same thing on my fabric. So the next thing I'm going to do is to trim out all the excess thread. It's very important. That is where the neatness of your finishing comes from. Trim all the excess thread, all these thread protruding out that used to stick out. Trim them off. It gives your sewing one kind of neatness. I don't know, when you trim it, or at least even when you sew cloth and then you trim off all the thread, how do you feel? There is this neatness it gives to, please, you people should forgive me, I have a little baby, that it gives to your clothes. So okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to turn the neckline. You can see these are, after joining it at the shoulder, you can see these are the neck. This is the neckline. So I've done the same thing to the lining. You can see. You can also see this is the neckline here. So but before that, because I'm putting a Peter Pan collar net already, I've done my collars. So I'm going to be attaching it. I'm going to be attaching the collar. So I'm going to place it this way. Now pay attention. I'm going to be leaving 1 inch at the edge here. 1 inch for zip, where my zip will pass, because I'm doing inseam finishing. That's like we say, you know, layman's knowledge, you say ready-made sewing, so that by the time I finish sewing, all my sewing will be inside. So I'm leaving 1 inch at the edge here. I'm leaving 1 inch at both ends. I'll just mark it 1 inch. So my sewing will start from here. I'll leave here so that I'll use it and turn. By the time I free zip, I'll use the lining to close it up. So I've marked my 1 inch. So the next thing I'm going to do is to put this collar. I'm going to place the collar this way, and then I'll pin it down. I'm going to pin it. Don't mind me, I use a magnet to hold down my pin so that they will not be missing. I don't know if I'm the only one my pin used to miss anyhow. So normally I hold it with my magnet so that way it won't be missing. So you can see what I'm doing now. I'm pinning the collar down. This collar is called Peter Pan collar neck. Neck. Peter Pan collar. So you see, I'm pinning it. So you see, my collar stopped at this. Remember I told you I left 1 inch here. You can see, look at it. Let me bring it very close to the camera. I left 1 inch so that by the time I fix my zip is for my zip. By the time I fix the zip, I will use the opening there on the lining to cover it up so that all my sewing will be inside. You can see I've pinned down my collar. I'm going to be doing the same thing. Before I start pinning the collar, I've already ironed to mark the middle of my middle. You can see, if you look very well now, you can see I've ironed it. There is a line here showing me the middle. So that's where I'm placing my collar. I'm placing my collar there. So I'm going to equally be doing the same thing to this one. So I'm placing like this, and then I'll start pinning round. I'll pin it round. And you see what I'm doing? I'm pinning round. I'm pinning it down. Can see? I'm pinning it down. Please let me know if you don't understand anything, and please, I beg you, please subscribe to my channel. Subscribe, like and share, and please, I beg you, my wonderful people, hit on the notification bell so that whenever I upload a video, because I tell you, every week I'll be dropping a new tutorial for us, especially for the beginners or people that have intention of learning how to make a dress, but they don't know where to start. I tell you, you can stick to my channel. I tell you, every week I'll be dropping a new video for you to learn everything. And let me know any style that you want me to draft and make, so that in this way all of us will learn together. You know, learning is fun. So turn on your notification bell so that whenever I drop a tutorial, you will be the first to know. Thank you. So now I'm done pinning. Can you see what I've just done? So the next thing I'm going to do is to place my lining. Remember this, I pinned this on the right side. The next thing I'm going to do is, you can see, right side facing right side. You see the right side of my fabric, look at it. So, and this is the right side of the right side of my lining, and this is the right side of my fabric. So I'm going to be placing it right side facing right side, and then I'll pin. But this time around I'll have to start holding it at the shoulder where I joined at the shoulder. Can you see I'm pinning it down there? I'll pin at the shoulder. So now I'm turning the neckline, I'm pinning the shoulder. I've pinned here. I'll get to the other shoulder. You can see the other shoulder. So I will look for the shoulder of my lining where I join it, and then I'll pin it down before I will start pinning round. You can see I've pinned it down. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to pin down every other place. You can see. The reason why it's very necessary for us to pin while sewing is that so that way your fabric will not be flying up and down. And it helps you to sew fast too, because when you don't pin, you'll be dragging at times. You'll be dragging and be dragging, but once you've pin everything down, you are just sewing straight. You see. You see equally I left my lining, you see. So by the time I fix zip, I'll use this place to turn it. So this is me coming here to start pinning. You see, I pin. So I'm done pinning. So what I'm going to do is, remember I marked 1 inch. Okay, I marked on the material, so let me mark it on the fabric, on the lining side, so that you see this is my 1 inch. So I'll start sewing from here. I'll sew from here to the other end. Look at my 1 inch here too. And you see, so I've marked the 1 inch. So I'm going to start sewing from here round the neckline, and then I will stop here. So let me sew it and show us what it looked like. Okay, here we go. I'm sewing round now, starting from the place, the 1 inch that I marked. And you see, because I've pinned it, I'm not struggling, I'm just moving. Because that's why it's important for you to pin. If not, now if I don't pin, you have to be stretching and stretching and be trying to fix it and make sure that everything aligned. But because I've pinned it, I'm just going to go to the You see, I'm stopping at this place that I marked, and then I backstitch to lock it. So I've sewn it round. The next thing I'm going to do is to cut off all the excess thread. And you see, I'm cutting off all the excess thread. Oh, sorry, I just noticed that my thread was jumping when I was sewing, so I'm going to be resewing round the neck, and if not, it will lose. So I'm just going to resew the whole neckline, then I'll tell us the next thing to do. Okay, now I've done sewing the neckline. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to remove all my pins. I've also trimmed out all the excess thread. Okay, look at this one. So I'm going to remove all my pins. You see, I've removed my pins. So the next thing I'm going to do, you can see the back. The next thing I'm going to do is to notch my collar, to notch round the neckline so that I can top stitch. Now after notching, you are going to be after stitching the neckline, you are going before you notch, you are going to be cutting at least 1 inch interval. I'm going to cut it, just cut very close to the thread where you've sewn, but don't cut your sewing. You can see what I'm doing. Don't know if you can see this is my sewing line, so I'm just going to cut You can see just very close, but I didn't cut it. You can see it. You can see. You can see it. I'm notching. Then make sure you also notch your shoulder line. Your shoulder where you join it. You can see. And then okay, right now I'm done notching. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to flip the lining to this side. Can you see? I'm going to flip the lining like this and top stitch on top of the lining. Now when you are top stitching, make sure that you push this thing that you sew towards the lining so that it will hold it down. The reason why you are top stitching is to hold it down, and it gives your sewing a very nice finishing. So I'm going to be top stitching like that. As I'm top stitching rather, I'm going to pushing this sewing that the place that I've sewn the neckline, I'm going to be pushing it to the lining side. Okay, let's do it together so that you can see. Okay, let me put my thread first. Okay, now put my thread. So this is me. You see, you can see it. Let me bring this thing very close so that can you see? So I'm going. This is it. I'm going to be stitching it. You can see. I'll back it. So I'm stitching. As I'm stitching, I will make sure that that thing that I notch that is by the lining side. So you can see I've finished top stitching. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to cut off the thread. All these threads that are sticking around, I don't like seeing them. So I'm going to just cutting them. You can see the only place that is open is the 1 inch I left for my zip. So by the time I'll free zip, I'll just use this like this and close it. That way you will not be seeing my zip. So that's what we call inseam finishing. Some people say it's ready-made sewing shop. So you can see. So let me remove the pins that I used to pin down the collar before. Can you see? I like the outcome, the way it's coming out. Can you see the way it's looking already? I've not finished sewing it, but I can tell you this cloth is going to be beautiful. Can you see? Can you look at the color? Can you see? Let me put this very well so that you can see. Can you look at it? How you can see? Everything is just lying flat. Can you see? Okay. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to turn the hand, the armhole area. I'm going to turn it so you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lining, remember right side facing each other. I'll pin down again at the shoulder. Can you see? Just follow what I'm doing. This is, you see, can you see? This is my shoulder. The shoulder, you can see where I joined it at the shoulder. This is for the main fabric, and this for the lining. So I'm going to pin them down. So I'm trying to turn the armhole so, and then for the I'm going to pin it down here too, so that, like I told you, I like pinning a lot whenever I'm working. I like pinning a lot. It helps me to sew very fast, and so that I don't have to be dragging clothes. I hate it when I don't pin and I have to be like dragging, doing this when I'm sewing. But once I pin, before you know it, I'm done. You can see I've pinned the armhole. Can you see? This is one. So when I want to sew, I'm going to sew from here to here. So let's pin the other armhole together in case if you didn't get how I did it here. So this is this one. So what I'm going to do, you see, look at it. Right side, this is the right side of the lining, this is the right side of the cloth. I'm going to make sure your collar don't enter before you sew your collar. I'm going to be holding it down like this, pinning the two shoulders together, shoulder to the shoulder. And you see I've pinned. Then I'm going to pin this armhole here, pin it down too. I'm going to pin it down as well. Can you see? So I'm going to sew from here to here, and then you can see it, the other one too. And see I've pinned them down. So I will sew from here to here, and so let me do that and show us how it looks. So now I'm going to sew the armhole area. So I'm going to be removing all my pins. So the next thing I'm going to do is to turn it to the right side. So for you to turn it to the right side, remember, this is the back now. This is what I'm going to be doing. Can you see? So I'm going to put my hand. Can you see? I'm going to put my hand and I turn it over like this. Just put your hand through the shoulder and you push the other one out. And you see, it's coming out already. So now, you can see, it's out. So I'm going to equally be doing the same to this side. So what I'm going to do, you can see, this is the way the material is. Let me move my camera so that we can see. You can see this is it. This is the back. So I want to turn it to the right side. Just through the arm, put your hand. And you see, once you put your hand, you turn it. Just look at what I'm doing. You turn it, then just push it through your shoulder, the opening at the shoulder. Just push it. I'm pushing it out now. You see? Can you see? It's coming out. Can you see? It's totally out. You see? I've done the. Let me show us. Okay. Can you see it? What it look like? My collar will not lay flat. You see? You see? Even I've not ironed it too. Can you see the way it's laying flat? It's lied flat. It lay flat rather. That's what not top stitching can do for you. Once you top stitch, it's going to hold it down. You see, without ironing, the thing is already flat on its own. Can you see? It's already flat on its own. Can you see it? Let me show us. Can you see? It's already flat. So I'm going to go and iron both armhole and my neck, and then I'll come back so that I'll do the finishing. We'll just hold it and do the final sewing. Okay, the next thing to do now, I want to do the joining. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hold one armhole. This is one armhole. You can see this is my shoulder, this is the front armhole. Like I said, the next thing we are going to be doing is to be doing almost our final sewing. So I'm going to be joining it at the armhole here, putting it fabric to fabric, lining to lining. So I'm going to pin it at the armhole. I've pinned this. So I'm going to hold it together like this. Can you see? And then I'll sew. I left 1 inch for my allowance. I'll sew 1 inch down to this side. When I finish, I'll put it at the mannequin so that you guys will see the final sewing. Okay, so what I've done is I just pinned it at the armhole, and then lining to lining, fabric to fabric, then I join it straight because I want my inside to be very neat, so I'm hiding all my work. So pin lining to lining, fabric to fabric, then you sew down. You will do the same thing to this side. You pin at the armhole area. You can see as I pin, my pin is still there. I pinned, and then I sew it in, lining to lining, fabric to fabric. So I left 1 inch for my sewing allowance, so that's what I used to sew. And then look at how it is. So look at the inside. Can you see? You are not seeing any of my sewing. All of them are inside. So can you see how neat the inside is? So if for example, if I've used a different fabric to do the lining, it means the person can equally wear the back, because you can just flip the collar like this and it comes out that way and you wear it. You understand? So this is it. Can you see how neat? And this is the outside. Can you see how neat? The remaining thing is for me to iron it. Can you see how neat this place equally is? Can you see? Can you look at it? So I'm going to be putting it on the mannequin and show us the final look. The remaining thing is just for me to put on the zip at the back, and that's it. Let me put it on the mannequin before putting on the zip so that we can see how it look. So I'm going to be putting on the clothes on the mannequin. So right now I'm going to remove this particular clothes and put on the one that we just made on the mannequin. So I'll show us how it look and the finishing. Can you look at the look on the mannequin? How do you see it? Very beautiful, isn't it? So this is how it's going to be. Though I've not finished, there is a bow I will be attaching here because the owner requested that I put a bow. So I'll take us through all those process. Can you see how it is on the mannequin? The color lying flat, properly flat, and the sewing is just beautiful and neat. Guys, please subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, also share and turn on your notification bell whenever turn on your notification bell so that whenever I upload a video, you'll be the first one to know. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you very much. Bye bye.